So good morning everyone, my name is Lalit Soni and you are watching Drishti IAS. In this live session, as usual, we will be discussing today's Indian Express newspaper. There will be 3-4 articles which we have chosen from the newspaper. Most of the news today in the front page, you will see that they are political. Phase 3 of the election is going to start, so with respect to that there are many news. Okay, other than that also there are 2 or 3 pages which are all dedicated to decision 2024, that is basically elections. So we will not dwell into all these things because exams are nearby and that would be a waste of time. So we will not go into the details of all those things. So let's come to the important article. We will discuss a practice question which was given to you in the previous lecture. Afterwards we will go for the Supreme Court opts for pregnant person. Okay, so this terminology they have changed from pregnant woman to pregnant person. It is not in any kind of statute yet, but in a particular order we will talk about that. Okay, then making e-rupee anonymous. Okay, now when we are talking about this e-rupee or central bank's digital currency, when we are talking about, so that is basically, you can say that when it is a digital currency, so all the transaction can be recorded. Okay, so in that regards, RBI has talked about making this e-rupee anonymous. Okay, so that when we are talking about the transactions in the cash, okay, when we go for the cash transaction, there is this anonymity because we you cannot track that who has given the how much amount of cash to which person or which company or which you can say entity. Okay, in that regard, these cash transactions are anonymous. Similarly, they are saying that e-rupee transaction can be made anonymous. Okay, we will talk about that why and how that can be done. Then Starliner set to launch. Okay, there is this particular probe towards you can say space. Okay, and that has been done by a private company in USA. So we will talk about that and why it is important. Okay, afterwards around the world there is nothing much to discuss. Okay, and then for your own read today there is no article for your own read, so you can relax on that front. Then there will be a last part, that is your practice question. Okay, so let's start with the discussion. This is front page and there is nothing much to discuss on the front page except for the phase 3 of the elections which will be starting. Okay, now as we have already discussed about the Indore batch, or you can say where when we are talking about the Indore branch, we are coming up with the ISGS foundation course that will be an offline course with free online facilities. Okay, and in this particular that particular course has been started for Hindi medium from 6th of May and for English medium it will start from the 9th of May. Okay, so for more details you can contact on this number that is given on your screen, that is 9654770770. Okay, now with that we can move further and see the practice question which was given to you in the previous lecture. Which famous comet has orbital period of approximately 76 years and was last seen in 1986? Okay, so here we are talking about Halley's comet. Now this comet especially becomes important for your prelims examination because there is this particular meteor shower which has been happening because of the earth which is basically in the pathway, or you can say the trail of this particular comet, and we are seeing this meteor shower, and that is why this particular comet was in news and we have discussed about it in yesterday's lecture. So please remember Halley's comet. Okay, now coming to the first part of the discussion, that is related to the Supreme Court's order. The top court says other gender can also experience pregnancy. Amid debate over gender vocab, Supreme Court opts for pregnant person. Okay, now when we are talking about our laws, okay, these are very old laws wherein there are certain, you can say, the certain gender bias are present in our terminology of the legal language. Okay, so when we see that there are rape laws, okay, which are biased in nature, there are certain laws which are basically having a you can say not gender neutral connotation attached to it. There will be a specific gender which has been specified over there. Similarly, when we are talking about the this termination of pregnancy related laws, so there is this word pregnant woman which has been used. Okay, but the thing is here in this particular judgment, 2-3 weeks back we have talked about a particular judgment which is related with a particular case which is related to abortion of a 14-year-old minor. Okay, in that case Supreme Court has given the direction to go for the abortion, but the thing is afterwards there was this petition and then Supreme Court has reviewed their own decision. So we will talk about that, and under that particular case only they have said that they have gone towards the change in the using of the language which judgments are written in. They have used the term pregnant person and not pregnant woman or pregnant lady over here. Okay, now Amid a debate over gender-neutral vocab, Supreme Court bench opted to call pregnant woman a pregnant person. Okay, stating that we recognize that in the addition to the cisgendered woman. So when we are talking about the cisgendered women who are biologically a woman and they identify themselves as a woman, such people are basically cisgender women. Okay, so other than that, there are other genders which can also go for the experience of the pregnancy. So that is why they have used this word, that is pregnant person and not pregnant woman. Okay, now here you can see we recognize that in addition to the cisgendered woman, pregnancy can also be experienced by some non-binary people. Non-binary means that there are two sexes which prominently they are in the mainstream, that is male and female, but there are other genders as well. Okay, now other genders who do not identify themselves as male, female, or there are they do not identify themselves as the biological definitions, okay, or the societal definition which has been assigned to the male and female. So there are certain other genders, these are called non-binary genders. Okay, so some non-binary people and transgender men among other identities. Okay, so basically there are certain people who are not you can say cisgendered women. Okay, they can also go for experience of the pregnancy, and that is why Supreme Court has changed the connotation, or they have changed the language over here, and they did not write pregnant woman, they wrote pregnant person. Okay, now coming to the Supreme Court recall its April 2022 order after the parents of the girls expressed concern over the health of if the abortion is carried out in the advanced pregnancy. So in this particular case, what was happening, the pregnancy was more than 28 weeks. Okay, so that is advanced pregnancy, and in that phase when Supreme Court has said that you should go for the termination, because if we are not going for the termination, the rearing, or you can say going for the delivery will be mentally as well as physically exhausting thing for the minor, and that is why they have allowed the termination, because we know that as per the termination laws in India, we have this law that up to 20 weeks we can go for the termination, and up to 24 weeks there would be a advice of medical practitioners, two medical practitioners that would be needed. Afterwards, then there will be a medical board on the direction of court that will decide on the pregnancy. Okay, the termination of the pregnancy. So in this case, the medical board has also said that okay, you can go for it, but then later the parents or the guardian of the that minor, they have problem with that, because they said that there can be risk related to health. Okay, there can be danger to the life of the minor. In that regard, they have said that they do not want this termination of the pregnancy, and then Supreme Court, considering that, they have recalled their judgment. Okay, now Supreme Court has allowed the request of the girl's mother for medical termination of the pregnancy, MTP, terming it as a very, very exceptional case where we have to protect her. Okay, now that is the case when of the 22nd April's you can say order. Okay, afterwards the guardian of the parents, they have said that they do not want it because there are risks to the life of the child over there, or I mean their child, or you can say the minor over there, and that is why the Supreme Court has changed the verdict over here. Okay, now primacy of the pregnant person's consent in the abortion. Now there should be a primacy, whatever pregnant woman or pregnant person is saying about that abortion, but the thing is, in this case she is minor. Okay, and divergence in the opinion of, there is a divergence in the opinion of the pregnant person and her guardians. Okay, here what is the problem is that the pregnant person is minor. Okay, and the guardians are basically responsible for their decision. The minor does not want to deliver the child. Okay, because of the various reasons, this social stigma is there, the mental pressure will be there, anxiety will be there, and their parents are worried about their health, and that is why there is a divergence of the opinion. Now clearly opinion that the continuation of pregnancy against the will of the minor may impact negatively on the physical and the mental well-being of the minor, who is 14 years old. Now girl's mother was changing her statement in the view of likely risk from the MTP. After interacting with the parents and the medical team, they recalled the previous order. Okay, now intent of MTP, when we are talking about the Medical Termination of Pregnancy Act, the intent is that firstly the health of the woman is paramount. Okay, health of the woman who is delivering the child, that is paramount. This includes the risk avoided from the mother not availing self illegal methods of the abortion. So basically here when we are talking about the health of the mother, that also includes if the mother is going for the avoidance of the healthy measures, or you can say she is going for the unsafe practices for the termination, that is also covered in there. Okay, so the job here is to provide a healthy environment and healthy medical practitioners to go for the termination. So that is the intent of this particular act. Okay, secondly, disallowing termination does not stop abortions, it only stops the safe and accessible abortions. Okay, so if someone is willing to go for an abortion and you are not allowing it, then they will not just deliver the baby, they will go for the unsafe methods, or you can say illegal methods. Okay, so that is why, considering that in mind, this medical termination of pregnancy act has been there, so that a healthy environment, or you can say a proper medical facilities could be provided for the medical termination. Okay, so that is the objective behind it. Now so I hope this is clear. The most important part here is that the court is trying to change the narrative. Okay, the court is trying to be more accommodative about the other genders. So that is the idea behind it. When we are talking about the non-binary genders, we should be accommodative towards them, we should be inclusive towards them. Okay, and we should understand what they are going through. Okay, so this is not any unnatural phenomena, this is natural, this is how they feel. Okay, so we have to be accommodative towards that. Okay, now moving further, we'll see the next article, which is related to Election Commission's directions. So hold on. So when we are talking about Election Commission, we have talked various times what is Election Commission, what will be the composition, what are the appointment methods, especially the appointment methods will be important for you from this year's prelims point of view, because there was some changes which has been made. There will be a selection committee. Okay, so that selection committee will comprise of Prime Minister, Leader of Opposition in Lok Sabha, and a Union Minister nominated by the Prime Minister. Okay, earlier there used to be CJI, Chief Justice of India of the Supreme Court. This CJI, this particular panel was created by the order of CJI earlier. Now they have created a panel with the Parliamentary Act. Okay, so they have replaced CJI with Union Minister nominated by your Prime Minister. Okay, so there are certain concerns, but we will not go into details of that. We will just know for the prelims that this is the formation of the select committee. Okay, then when we are talking about the Election Commission of India, ECI, there is one Chief Election Commissioner, then there will be 2 election commissioners. Okay, now appointment is done by President. Okay, removal will be done by the President. Okay, and EC's removal will be done by the President on the advice of CEC. Okay, so these are some basics you should remember. Okay, now coming to the article 324 is important with respect to the Election Commission of India. Election Commission of India has the supervise, control and direct. These are the powers which has been given under the article. So there are certain things which Election Commission of India does, like enforcement of the model code of conduct. Okay, now this model code of conduct does not have any kind of statutory authority, but under this article they derive this authority to go for the enforcement of the model code of conduct. Okay, so that are the things which you should remember. Now coming to this article, EC to parties: don't post deep fakes, misleading information on social media. An advisory to all recognized parties not to use deep fake and misinformation in the social media post, and to take down any such fake audios, videos within the 3 hours of the coming to know of it. Okay, after this direction, within the 3 hours you have to remove any such things which has been made by artificial intelligence or the deep fakes. Okay, now basically they are talking about the deep fakes, wherein there are chance of the misinformation, disinformation. Okay, when we are talking about misinformation, that means that you are been providing information which is wrong. Okay, second thing is when we are talking about the disinformation, that is basically changing the discourse, or you can say that is a propaganda. Okay, Then when we are talking about the deep fakes, you know that by the superimposition of the various videos and audios, they can generate when we are talking about the artificial intelligence, generative artificial intelligence, they can generate different kind of videos. Okay, so you must have heard about the videos of Ranveer Singh, okay, and then videos of former leader Karunanidhi. So such videos are basically, you can say that, are result of these deep fakes. Okay, now coming to the next part. While the advisory did not mention any specific complaints of the post, there are certain violations of the Model Code of Conduct and the extent legal provisions by the political parties and their representatives while using social media for election campaigning, which need to be regulated in the interest of the transparency, ethical campaigning and the level playing field during the elections. Now, this is something you can use in your mains answer writing. This is something you can use in your essay writings. Okay, there are high chances that there will be an essay which is related to artificial intelligence, deep fake, elections, democracy in this years. And when we are talking about your mains, there can be definitely one answer which can be related to the impacts of you can say artificial intelligence or any kind of other emerging technology. There can various technologies are there when we are talking about this science and tech portion. So artificial intelligence is one of them, this deep fakes are one of them, then there will be this 5G and there are this Internet of Things. All these things are there, so they have impact on our daily to daily life. So when we are talking about the deep fakes, you can use such things or such you can say case studies like the video of Ranveer Singh, the video of Karunanidhi. All these things you can actually mention in your answer writing. Okay, now moving further, the use of such manipulated, distorted and edited content on the social media platforms has potential to wrongfully sway the voters' opinion, deepen societal divisions and erode trust in the election process. So these are the basically direct impacts on the elections. Then asked political parties to not to use social media platform to disseminate any misinformation or information which is patently false, untrue or misleading in nature, and those that impersonate other person. Okay, including any information which is synthetically created or generated or modified in the manner that such information reasonably appears to be authentic and true, while in actuality dishonesty fraudulently deceive any person who is basically pursuing the information. So basically they are saying that you should not go for spread of any kind of information during the election campaigning on the social media platforms, which can be a disinformation or information which is fake, or you are trying to impersonate some other person, any such things which can be generated by any kind of technology which can give this impression that that is real. So such information should not be spread by the political representatives on their social media platforms. Okay, so that is about this article. There are certain things which you can remember from the Election Commission of India, that is your formation, appointments, how many of the election commissioners are there, from where they derive their authority, what is model code of conduct, what is the statutory backing behind the model code of conduct. All these things are important for your prelims this year. Okay, and most important is the select committee, which is about for the appointments of the election commissioners. Okay, now moving further. Okay. Permanent deletion of transactions can help make e-rupee anonymous, says Das. Das is basically our RBI Governor. Okay, so Reserve Bank of India Governor Shaktikant Das on Monday said that the permanent deletion of the transaction can make the e-rupee or the central bank digital currency become anonymous and make at par with the paper currency. Okay, now why they are trying to do this? Because people are basically skeptical about these transactions, because they know that there will be a trail. Okay, they can track your transactions. So everyone, be it a person who is learned enough, or who is dealing in the black money, etc., or you can say a person who is doing their transaction genuinely. But again, there is this particular, you can say, deep rooted pessimism about the digital transactions, which is recently we have seen that the digital transactions are increasing, and we are seeing that there is a trend which is we can see that these transactions are on increase. But when we are talking about the businessmen or the the class which is dealing with the various kind of trades, etc., they are still skeptical about all these things. Okay, so because of which this particular project, that is e-rupee, could not pick up, and that is why they are saying that there can be such things which can be done. This is a pilot project as of now. So let's see here. India is also working on making CBDC, that is central bank digital currency, which is also known as e-rupee, okay, transferable in the offline mode, along with the introducing the programmability features to help its financial inclusion goals. Okay, so now what they are trying to do over here is that they are making it transferable. Okay, you can transfer it from one account to another account. That is totally fine, because that is happening when we are talking about our e-wallet, etc. So when we are talking about this e-currency, that is different from the e-wallets. Okay, when we are talking about this particular thing over here, they are making it transferable in the offline mode as well. Okay, when we are saying that it is a e-rupee, so we know that it is a contactless currency, it is an online currency, but again they are trying to go for some kind of program that can lead to the transaction of these e-currency in the offline mode as well. How they will do it, that is a totally different thing, which is not given as of now, but they are trying to work on that. Okay, it can be noted that since the introduction of the CBDC in the late 2022, there have been concerns about the privacy aspects, with some saying that the electronic nature will leave trail of where all the currency has been used, unlike cash, which offers anonymity, which we have already discussed. As I told you, when we are talking about the transactions which are happening on the online, or you can say digital transactions, they will have a trail. Okay, now if there is a trail, you can track who has given money to whom, where all this money is going. Okay, so that is why when we are talking about the cash, there is this anonymity which is attached to the cash. Okay, so that is what one concern is there, and they are trying to resolve that concern. Okay, through the legislation or through technology, they are trying to go find a way for the permanent deletion of the transaction. Once the transaction happen, they will delete the transaction history. So ultimately, since there is no history, you cannot find out where this money is going. Okay, but again, that is when we are talking about data is never erased. Okay, it will exist somewhere at least. So that is another thing. CBDC can have the same degree of anonymity as cash, no more, no less. Okay, that is the you can say basically the idea behind it. That is basically what we are trying to do over here. Former RBI Governor D. Subbarao in 2021 said that the CBDC will allow the government or the RBI to access all the data on how each unit of the currency has been used, and ask for a strong data protection law and tackle with it. Okay, so ultimately this is what was said by the former governor, RBI governor, that is Subbarao, and he has said that in 2020 when this particular currency was launched. So 2021, he has said that this currency can track all the transactions. So that is, there is this concern which is related to the privacy. Okay, so that has been talked about over here. Offline and the programmability feature of the CBDC, programmability will facilitate transaction for the specific targeted purposes, while offline functionality will enable these transactions in an area with poor or limited internet connectivity. So they are talking about two things. One is your programmability. Programmability means that they can program that currency to be used somewhere. Okay, so there will be a functional specialization, or you can say a targeted purpose for that particular thing. Not in all cases, but there, if you want to do it, you can do it. Okay, so that is one thing, programmability they are talking about. Second thing is basically offline functionality. When we are talking about making it a e-currency, or you can say legal tender as a paper note, so we have to ensure that in an area where is no internet connectivity or poor internet connectivity, there also can be a transaction which can be done by e-rupee. Okay, so they are working on these two things. Okay, so offline functionality for the areas where internet is not there, and the programmability whenever you want to attach that particular currency with a kind of purpose. Okay, now the RBI still prefers UPI among the retail users. It has said that retail users are still, when we are talking about the retail users, we are also preferring this UPI because it is working fine, and it is easy to understand. Then India has made CBDC non-remunerative, and non-remunerative over here, that means that there is no interest attached to it. Non-remunerative. When we are talking about your in banks, etc., if you go there and deposit some kind of money over here, then you will have some kind of interest which will be paid to you. But when in the case of e-currency, or you can say this digital currency or e-rupee, there will be no interest which will be paid, because when we are talking about the interest, they are controlled by the interest rate or their repo rate, and then there is a repo rate which can be changed, and then bank has to change their rates accordingly. Okay, but that you can say transmission of the you can say benefits from the RBI to the customer, that takes time, or you can say that there is a delay, or you can say if RBI has reduced the interest rate by 25 basic points, the bank will not do that up to that particular extent. Okay, so there will be a gap between that, and to avoid that, they have made it non-renewable remuneration, because they will not go for any kind of interest, non-interest bearable. Okay, so here India has made CBDC non-remunerative by making it non-interest bearing to mitigate any potential risk of bank intermediation, or you can say disintermediations. Okay, because otherwise the bank will be the person who will be a third person, or you can say intermediary in the transaction, and that is why they have not made it a remunerative, or you can say that they have made it a non-interest bearing instrument. Okay, now central bank creates the CBDC, and the other banks are there to distribute it like other currencies as well. Okay, participation of the non-banks in the pilot with the expectations that their reach can be leverages for the distribution of the CBDCs. Now till now what is happening, that RBI is generating CBDCs, and the other banks, the big banks, are there to distribute it. Now they are saying that they can go for the non-banks as well, so that you can say spread, or the expanse can be, or you can say penetration of these currencies should go to the rural areas, remote areas as well. Okay, so leverage their network, they are planning to do it. Okay, I hope this is clear. Now we will talk about this CBDC, because you know we have to understand that what is e-rupee first. With the name, it is clear that it is a digital currency. Now let's see, it is a legal tender, like your notes, like your 100 rupees bill, 500 rupees bill. It will be a legal tender. Okay, there will be a legality attached to it by the RBI. Okay, so it is issued by RBI in digital form. It is same as the fiat currency, these notes when we are talking about this fiat currency, and is exchangeable one to one with the fiat currency. Okay, now in you can give 100 rupees note and can get 100 rupees in the form of digital currency. So this is exchangeable as well. Okay, now e-rupee is a cashless and the contactless instrument for the digital payments, which is quite obvious. It is a QR code or SMS string based e-voucher which is delivered to the mobile of the beneficiaries. Okay, so not necessarily you will require internet, because this can be done via SMS string as well. Okay, so QR code like UPI, and then when we are talking about this SMS string, so that is basically your you can say in the areas where internet is not working, that can also be done. Okay, now e-rupee will be in the form of digital token representing a claim on the central bank, like notes. Okay, in the notes you must have seen that the governor of RBI promised to pay 100 rupees. Okay, so similarly that guarantee, that claim will also exist over here as well. The e-rupee will be in the form of digital token representing a central bank, and effectively functions as a digital equivalent of a bank note that can be transferable electronically from one holder to another. Okay, so from one holder to another you can transfer this e-currency. The user of this seamless one-time payment mechanism will able to redeem the voucher without a card, digital payment applications, internet banking access, etc. at service providers. Okay, so even without these things you can go for the access of all these things, okay, by the SMS strings, etc. It has been developed by a National Payment Corporation of India. When we are talking about any digital transactions in India, when we are talking about UPI, etc., these are all basically controlled and developed by National Payment Corporation of India. On its UPI platform, it is in the collaboration with the Department of Finance Services and Ministry of Health and Family Welfare and the National Health Authority. Okay, so this has been done accordingly. Now we can move to the next part. What is SFJ? That is basically 6 for justice. Now there is this news, there are 2-3 news which we will try to interlink. One, that you must have heard about the Gurpatwant Singh Pannu. Okay, So there was this conspiracy to kill this particular person in USA, and USA has said that because of on the basis of their intelligence, there are some Indians who are involved in that. They have arrested few people as well. Okay, so that is the person Gurpatwant Singh Panno. That is one thing. Second thing is, you must have heard about the Canadian case of Khalistani separatist, that Hardeep Singh Nizar, he has died, and there are various other Khalistani separatists which are operating from the Canada and USA sector. So that is second thing. Now there is third angle which has been actually alleged. Okay, so recently the governor, lieutenant governor of Delhi, has said that there should be an investigation on the you can say chief minister of Delhi for being involved with some kind of transactions over there. Okay, so here you can see that Delhi Lieutenant Governor V.K. Saxena on Monday recommended National Investigation Agency, that is NIA, probe against jailed CM Arvind Kejriwal for allegedly receiving political funding from the Sikhs for Justice, a New York-based pro-Khalistan organization that is banned in India. Now, this organization, that is SFJ, Sikhs for Justice, this organization is been made by this person, that is Gurpatwant Singh Panno. Okay, and he is a Khalistani separatist, and now there are allegations that Chief Minister of Delhi has got some kind of political funding from this particular organization which is banned in India. Okay, so now NIA has been the governor, Lieutenant Governor has recommended NIA to go for such kind of investigation. Now recommendation was made based on the complaint by Asho Mongia of World Hindu Federation. Okay, there is this another body that is related to a particular community, that is World Hindu Federation, and that person has made a complaint against CM to the, you can say, Lieutenant Governor, and accordingly they have gone for such charges. Okay, now here you can say that he has received $16 million from SFJ for facilitating the release of Devinder Pal Bhullar. He is also another pro Khalistani separatist. Okay, and to espousing pro Khalistani sentiments. Okay, so that are the allegations which are made on the Delhi CM. Okay, now when we are talking about this SFJ, just you don't have to worry much about it, just know all these things. Okay, SFJ, this particular organization, is basically founded in 2007 by the Gurpatwant Singh Panno. Okay, and he is a US based attorney, or you can say a lawyer. When we are talking about this particular person, he is having this philosophy, or he is saying that ballots and not bullets. Okay, so basically he is saying that we are trying to go for the constitutional means and not for the bullets, or you can say violence, etc. But again, they are also appreciative of the all those people who has resorted to violence at times. Okay, so here you can say SFC seeks to achieve self-determination for Sikh people in their historic homeland, and in Indian held Punjab established a sovereign state, that is Khalistan. Okay, so that is their target, that is what their ideology is. Okay, when we are talking about this Panno's motto was ballot and not bullets. But when we are talking about this particular person, he has started a referendum in 2020. That referendum was related to the formation of Khalistan, and he has said that various people has responded to that. But again, the truth is something else, that there was some journalist who has said that I have a friend in London who has logged into register for this particular referendum with a name that is Angelina Jolie, and they have accepted their you can say referendum, or you can say they have accepted his response as well. Okay, so we can say that there are certain fraud responses which has also been generated in that regard. So this particular referendum, which they are claiming that this demand of Khalistan is real, people are wanting it, that is you can say propaganda which has been generated by such fake referendums and the voting which has been done. Double speak of Panno. So basically, as I told you, that they are saying that we are against the violence, but again there are certain people who has actually gone for the violence related activities. They are appreciating such people. Okay, so there was this person, you must have heard about the name, that is Ben Singh and Satwan Singh. These are the person who has killed our former Prime Minister Indira Gandhi. Okay, so basically they are supporting them as well. Basically they are trying to appreciate those people as well. Okay, so such you can say double speak is there when we are talking about this Panno. And in USA and Canada, there are various Sikh diaspora which are living over here, and they have been supporting these people, they have been protecting these people because of their support to the free speech, etc., free speech and expression. But again, when we are talking about the freedom of speech and expression, there should be a reasonable restrictions. We as a country, we India, we consider them as separatists, we consider them as this particular organization, we consider them as a banned organization. So there should be these countries, these allied countries like Canada and USA, they should understand the sentiment of Indians, and they should understand that they should not allow such level of freedom to such separatist entities. Okay. Anyways, moving further, they are banned in India. Panno as a terrorist, he is banned in India. When we are talking about the SFJ, that is Six for Justice, they are also banned under the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act 1967. Please go through these provisions of this particular act. Okay. In the grab of the so-called referendum for Sikhs, which we have already talked about here, in 2020 there was this referendum, and because of which they are banned in India. Okay. So I hope this is clear. This particular organization, Sikhs for Justice, we have taken this because there was this allegation related to getting some kind of political funding with respect to elections against the Chief Minister of Delhi. Okay, so that is why we have taken this. Otherwise, it is not much important for your prelims examination. Now, moving further, with veteran Sunita Williams, you must have heard this name, Sunita Williams. I hope that you know who this lady is. Please reply in the comment box who was Sunita Williams. Okay, then we can move forward with that. With veteran Sunita Williams on board, Boeing's Starliner set to launch. What is the significance? Now, we don't have to go much into details of it, because that is a USA based satellite, or you can say that is an satellite of a private company in USA. Okay, and they are supporting NASA. But again, the names such like OneWeb, Kuiper, etc., these names, or Falcon, or SpaceX, all these names are quite prominent and has been in the news, and that is why it is important for us to remember that how or what they belongs to. Okay, so when we are talking about this particular name, that is Starliner. Okay, this particular name is related to a company, that is Boeing. You must have heard about this company with respect to, sorry, I'll write it again. You must have heard about this particular company with respect to the malfunctioning in some kind of aircraft. Okay, and because of which the aircraft business of this particular company was collapsing, and now they are focusing on the space related endeavors. Now that is why for this company it is very important to very important that this particular program succeeds, so that they can revive themselves. Okay, now again, when we are talking about USA has actually come up with the infrastructure such that the private companies are also taking initiative in the space related industries, and India is also trying to do similar things at our own domestic levels as well. Now, when we are talking about the first such company, that is basically SpaceX. Okay, SpaceX, this is a company which already has this you can say capacity to send people to, you can say, space. Okay, you must have heard about this Falcon 9. So this is the launch pad or launch vehicle of this company, which is reusable. Now, when we are talking about this Starliner, that is also supposed to be a reusable vehicle. Okay, so let's talk about this particular project over here. Now, Boeing Starliner spacecraft carrying two NASA astronauts will be launched by Atlas V rocket, Atlas 5 rocket from the Kennedy Space Center in Cape Canaveral in Florida International Space Station. So basically, these two astronauts which we have talked about, along with that, one is Sunita Williams, they will be sent to the International Space Station on Tuesday. So this will be the Starliner's first crewed test flight. If the mission is successful, it will become the second private firm to do that. When we are talking about USA, they will send NASA's crew to the ISS, and the first was Elon Musk's SpaceX. Okay, so these two companies you should remember, one is Boeing and second is SpaceX. Then they have sent the astronauts to the space. Okay, now what is Boeing Starliner? Okay, so Starliner is a partially reusable crew capsule. As I told you, this is a reusable rocket, or you can say a particular spacecraft which will take them to the ISS, bring them back, and it can be reused for like 5 to 6 times. Okay, So one is the crew module. There are two modules which are there in this particular capsule. One is crew module, in which the crew members will be there and the associated services which also be provided in that particular module. One is crew module, which can accommodate 7 astronauts for the trip to ISS. It will be modified for 4 astronauts and cargo. So, okay. So it will be depending on the capacity or the number of person which we are sending, that can be modified, but it has the capacity to accommodate 7 astronauts. Okay. Now it can be reused up to 10 times, and 6 months turnaround is there. So in 6 months, for one flight it will take nearly around 6 months, and it can be used for the 10 times. Okay, that is why it is a reusable module. Now second will be the service module. Okay, one is the crew module, in which the crew members will be there. Second is service module, in which that can be considered as the powerhouse of the spacecraft. So basically whatever is necessary, whatever endeavors are necessary for the spacecraft to work, they are set up in the service module. Okay, now this service module is not reusable. Okay, so it will function for once and then it will be discarded. Now what is the mission's objective? To see how Starliner fares in the space with a crew on board. Okay, so basically the objective of the mission is to send few people to the International Space Station. Now that is the objective, and that is basically you can say what the company and the NASA are trying to see, that if that is successful or not. It is supposed to dock with the ISS a day after the launch and return to the Earth around in 10 days. Okay. So you can say that it is a mission having a, you can say, life cycle of 10 to 11 days. Okay, the crew members, who are NASA astronaut Barry Butch Wilmore and Sunita Williams, will be taking a test flight manually. Okay, and there will be all these things which you can look into. That is not important for us now. Keeping an eye on the spacecraft's heat shield and the parachutes, they will show the descent before airbags open to soften the movement of the impact on the ground. Okay, so ultimately that is also not important. You can say that they are having this particular parachutes, okay, which or the heat shield. Okay, when we are landing from the atmosphere with the gravity, we are having a particular speed. Okay, because of the friction, then there can be a generation of heat, and then there is this heat shield. Second thing is there are parachutes which are there to avoid the impact, because if there is nothing to hold it back or to reduce the velocity, so then this particular spacecraft or the module will collapse. Okay. Now, why this mission is significant? As I told you that this particular mission is significant for two reasons. One is for the company, because company is not doing well in the other arenas, like you can say aircraft industry. So that is one thing. Second thing is, it is the second industry in private industry in USA to go for such things. So that can generate a competition over here. Okay, that can break the monopoly. So that is why it can be important for the USA. Okay, so these are the factors which are related to it. For your exam purpose, just remember 2-3 names. That is Starliner, which belongs to Boeing. Then there is this SpaceX, which is Elon Musk's company. That is the first company to send astronauts in the space, and this will be the second company. It's successful. The one of the member is Sunita Williams, and I hope you will tell us who is Sunita Williams. Okay, so there is this answer that Ravi Kumar said. Sunita Williams was an astronaut. Yes, she was an astronaut, and she actually went to space earlier as well. Okay. Now, from around the world, there is nothing much. There was this peace process which was they underway. Israel has said that we have given some conditions. If Hamas are agreed to it, we will go for the peace process. But again, they have said that they are not ready for it now. Hamas has accepted the offer, but Israel is saying that they are not ready, because according to them, there has been some kind of changes in the conditions which has been put forward with the Israel, and Israel says that these conditions are not acceptable to us, and they have gone for the strike in the Rafah. Okay, Rafah area is the area, Rafah crossing is the area wherein from the Egypt side there was this a humanitarian aid etc., which has to be sent, like medical medical help, or you can say some other kind of aid which is to be supplied to the Gaza area, which was done to the Rafah crossing, and ultimately now they are attacking or striking the Rafah area as well. Okay, so that is about the Israel Hamas issue, which is still going on. Okay. Other than that, for your own read, as I told you, there is no article today. So you can go and just watch in focus and in news series for the different angles to cover. Now, which technology is likely to be backbone of RBI's CBDC, that is Central Bank Digital Currency? Okay, artificial intelligence, blockchain, quantum computing, augmented reality. Okay, so out of these 4 options you have to choose the correct options, like what is the technology behind the RBI's CBDC or central bank's digital currency. Okay, so I hope this will be a simple question. You can attempt this question and answer in the comment box. With that, I would like to take your leave. I'll see you in the next episode. Till then, have a good day. Thank you.